Hi, I'm Dana and I'm coming at you with probably the biggest washing pile I've ever had. I haven't put this stuff away since before I went to America. Like, a lot of this is from before I even went to the US. Otis, that is not a prime location for you to be in right now. So yeah, I'm gonna start right in. But for anyone who's new, if you haven't watched anything like this before, this is the time when I get around to doing the shit that I should have probably done a good while ago. And if you also have stuff that you probably should have gotten around to doing a good little while ago, you can do it along with me and have a bit of company and have a bit of like a body doubling sesh. And if you don't want to, that's fine as well. As always, I'm not trying to trigger that PDA and have you be like, well, you told me to, so now I'm not. But like, if you wanted to, it's a good little chance for you, innit? And quite frankly, this is the only way that I can force myself to do it. And I'm hoping, I am praying that this will like prompt me to do more, you know, like when you've gotten started and you're like, oh well, I've put my laundry away, so I may as well hoover next. I'm really praying that's what happens here because I have things to do. It would be nice to live in a clean and tidy environment for a change. I've been helping my best friend a whole bunch lately, and it's one of those things where the stuff we've been doing kind of sucks, but doing it with them makes it like not as bad as it could be, and they really need the help and no one else is gonna do it, so I do it. And it's one of those where like I say, it's kind of fun when I'm doing it with them, but it's also not like the ideal thing to be doing. So, but the point of that was that I've learnt some new skills. I've learnt I can do some stuff I didn't know that I could do. We wallpapered. I've never wallpapered before. I saw my parents do it a whole bunch when I was growing up. Like, we were always doing some sort of house project because we moved into really shitty houses a lot of the time, so we had to fix them up. And my parents, like, I helped with a lot of stuff growing up, you know, like I helped my dad redo the tiles out front of our house at one point. I helped him redo a whole floor, like taking it up to the foundation, like to taking off like all the floorboards and putting floorboards back down. I partially helped to like renovate a loft. I always had to do my own bedrooms. Like if I ever wanted like a change of colour on the paint of the walls or whatever, I had to do it myself. So like a lot of like general like home DIY stuff I have already done before and do know how to do, but whenever my parents wallpapered, they acted like it was like the most mammoth task that anyone had ever taken on. You know, like they'd get all of the gear out and they'd be like absolutely like panicked with each other, and they, like my parents didn't really shout at each other that often, and when they did it was terrifying, but they would just get really snippy with each other and I'd be like, oh fuck, and I'd like offer to try and help and whatever, and they'd be like, no, there's no way you can do this. So I've always seen wallpapering as like a really, really difficult thing to do. So I was absolutely dreading it. I was like, you know, my friend needs help with this. They obviously can't do it on their own. But also, what if I fuck up their house, you know? Like, they've bought this place. Like, they own that house. If I fuck it up, we need to fix it again. And if I fuck it up, it's going to be because I don't know what I'm doing. So I'm probably not going to know how to fix it. So I was absolutely shitting myself, to be honest with you. And like, I'm really lucky because all of the pressure on me for it was just coming from myself. You know, my friends just like, we'll figure it out. Like, we'll do what we can. Like, they are very, very, I mean, they're not super relaxed about shit. They're anxious as hell about a whole bunch of shit right now. Things really aren't going well for either of us. But we're supporting each other through it and trying our best with each other. And, you know, it'll all work out in the end, I think. And it's nice to have the support while we're getting there. But it is also a very, very stressful time. So we looked at some like TikTok videos together of people wallpapering and did a little bit of Googling and then bought all the supplies and got them ordered. And then they came the other day and I went over so that we could actually do it. And it's one of those things where we did the first one together and I was just like, I don't want to be a control freak here, but I feel like I need to be a control freak because as much as our brains tend to line up, like that's my favourite thing about my best friend is that like our brains line up and we can do things together without really having to communicate all that much. You know, like when it comes to like we've had to move a lot of things together and like pack things together and stuff like that, and they do things the way that I would do them and it's perfect. And I've never experienced it with anyone else. I absolutely adore them for it. But it was one of those things where I was like, I'm trying to line up the top and they're trying to line up the bottom, and now neither of us are lined up, and now it like doesn't look right, and now I'm getting panicked and now I'm getting stressed. So we took the first one down again and I was like really getting stressed. I was really like, I don't know if we can fucking do this actually, because normally when we do things together it just goes well, and it isn't right now. So with the next one I was like, you know what, sit down, I'm gonna try and do this and see if it's one of those things that's just like easier as a one person job, you know? Like, I know it sucks to like sit there and not do anything, but also like sometimes things are just easier when you're doing it yourself, you know, like no shade. And that was indeed the case. Like, being able to just put it up and line it up, and like, I'm quite a hands-on kind of person, I think, a lot of the time. So I just did it, and I was like, yo, this is going okay. Like, I'm wallpapering. And like, indeed I was. It did all go quite well, actually. We wallpapered in... We'd started in the afternoon and it hadn't gone all that well, so we wallpapered the first room that evening and then had a break, and then wallpapered the other room the next day. And it went really well. Like, it didn't take all that long. It took like maybe 4 or 5 hours. I didn't get all that stressed about it. Like, I got a bit stressed because it is a stressful thing to do, but like, I didn't like snipe at my best friend or anything, you know, because I'm very, very used to doing things on my own, so I find it very, not even easy, like, I feel like I can't always control that. I just take out my frustration on the people around me, and I am quick to apologise and be like, it's not you, it's this situation is really getting to me and I've taken out on you and that's not fair and I'm really sorry. But, you know, apologising for stuff doesn't just automatically make it okay. So I'm really glad that I am learning how to like better control that when I'm getting frustrated in situations, and make, you know, be able to speak to people nicely while also making clear like, I'm frustrated by this situation. I feel like I am doing better with that now that I'm more aware of it. Like, that's the thing, is it takes me a long time to like be aware of my own behaviour, I think, and to like process how the way that I behave can affect other people. And once I do, I feel like I'm pretty good at like zoning in on it and working on it and doing better. But I've just had so many situations where people have fallen out with me and gotten upset with me and gotten really angry with me, and I have no fucking idea why, and they refuse to tell me because you should know, you should be able to tell. And I'm like, I literally can't. I don't know what I've done. This isn't helping anybody, really. So being able to both like register things more on my own, as well as having friends that like will speak to me about things instead of bottling it all up and then having a load of resentment and being all dumb. I also got one of these hair bonnet things in the US, and I do feel a bit appropriative with it, but I also have curly hair and I don't want it to look like shit all the time, so we're trying it. But like, I do feel very lucky to have friends that will talk about that kind of thing, because I do make social mistakes. I do say things that like sometimes my brain just doesn't connect with my fucking mouth, and I say something that's kind of rude or mean or hurtful or whatever else. So I made a joke at one point about my friend having like a painting of themselves, because they have a painting of like one of the Greek myth type things where the person can't swim, and my best friend can't, like one of my best friends can't swim, and I was like, hey, it's you. And the other people in the room were like, because they're like, in the Greek myth, he's like the god of vanity or some shit, and they were like, way to call your friend vain. And I was like, no. And my friend knew what I'd meant. My friend got what my element of the joke was, but no one else did, because they had context that I didn't have and shit. And it's stuff like that where it's like, I wouldn't for a minute think about calling my friend vain, because they're not. So it makes complete sense to me and them that the joke was about them not being able to swim, but to everyone else, I look like a big asshole. Yeah, sometimes I'll get comfortable around people and make jokes like that before they really know me well enough, and then they think that I'm being an asshole, and I struggle a lot with that kind of thing. So it does really mean a lot to have friends that'll be like, this thing you said hurt me, this joke you made actually wasn't funny and I didn't like it, because it adds to like my like skill set for socializing, I guess. I don't like looking at things so like scientifically, I suppose, philosophically, I don't know. I don't like thinking of like hanging out with my friends as building my social skill set, you know? But I'm also aware that like the more I socialise and talk to people and hang out with people, the better I do become at social things. That's how practice works. But yeah, we got it wallpapered and then realised that you could still see the dodgy texture of the wall through it. So then we also painted. And we painted in like 3 hours, maybe 4 hours. Like, it really did not take us that long. And obviously painting is something where like, that's not a one-man job. I could be like, hey, you do the bottoms, I do the top, then I'll get the roller out and we're done. Like, I've painted like dozens and dozens of rooms in my life. I'm so used to that. I'm so like, I don't want to be like, I'm so good at painting, because like you're just slopping white paint onto an already wallpapered white wall. Like, it's really not that hard, honey. But also like, it looks good now, you know? Well, I don't know whether to say it looks good, but it looks the best it's going to. And that's what we needed. I was in Manchester recently, and I had sort of like an epiphany about how my mask sometimes works, because my best friend's other best friend, for a hot minute, thought that I absolutely hated him, because whenever we'd like he'd walked me like we'd happen to leave my friend's flat at the same time sometimes, and we'd like walk together, and I just wouldn't say anything, because like I like him enough, you know? Like, I'm comfortable enough. I feel like he understands like the way that you know, he's a very, very good friend to my best friend, and we're very, very similar. So I was just like, yeah, you get it. Like, you get it. So I didn't speak to him very much, if at all, honestly. And he registered that as, like, me hating him. And I don't think he thinks that anymore, because, like, we've hung out more and I've spoken to him and, like, made a few little jokes and stuff. And, like, I feel like he does get it now. But I was with someone that I hadn't hung out with many times before, and I thought I really liked, and the more that I hung out with them, the more I was like, oh, I actually don't like this person very much. They'd said a few things that I just didn't really like, and like register was like, it's not something I'd say, it's not something I think is necessarily appropriate to say things like that. Where it's like, it's not that they're a horrible, terrible person, they're just not really my kind of person, and it makes me a bit uncomfortable, and I don't really know what I'm meant to do. And in that situation, my mask slipped right on, and I was the most chatty, friendly little bitch you've ever fucking seen. Because like I say, I don't think they're like a horrible person, you know? Like if they were like, why don't you like me? I'd be like, there's a couple of things you said that I don't think are all that nice. I'm just not that into you, I guess. You know, like I don't have like this and this, go fuck yourself. Like I don't really have like solid reasons to dislike them, so I really don't want them to think that I do dislike them, because that conversation just wouldn't be any sort of okay or fun or like decent for me, you know? I wouldn't enjoy it. I don't want them to know I don't like them. So that means that my mask slips on, and I do absolutely everything in my power to make sure that they know that I like them. And it's like, but I literally don't like them though. Like, but like I can't deal with any sort of fucking conflict or negativity or whatever else. So it comes out as though like they are my new best fucking friend. And it's so frustrating to realise that like so many people I don't like probably think that I'm a lovely, lovely person because the mask slips on. I feel like I have to be extra nice to them because I don't like them. And then people I actively like and would probably like quite like to talk to more and spend more time with think that I fucking hate them because I'm comfortable enough that I just stop talking. Because it's one of those things where like obviously in my videos it's just me. Like I can just chatter away for like loads and loads of time, but like it's because it's the internet and I'm sat alone in my room and no one can hear me, you know? If there was any chance of like real life, like in time communication happening back to me, I would not do it. Like I don't do lives, you know? Like I've talked about it many times and I feel like I would like to, and it'd be really fun for us. Like as a little community on here, if I could do lives and we could chat in real time. But it just makes me so fucking anxious that I don't think I'd say anything, you know? I think we'd sit on, like, I'd sit on camera for like 15 minutes in silence and then awkwardly leave. So like one of my best friends is the single chattiest person I've ever met in my entire life. And I absolutely adore it about them because it means that for the most part, I can just sit and listen. I don't have to put like all of the thought and energy and effort into actively actually socialising. But at the same time, they're my best friend and I'm extremely comfortable around them. So I know that if at any point I do want to say something or change the topic or talk about this thing that I've watched or whatever else, I can do that and I do get my time to speak. Because that's one thing that really annoys me is I've had people act as though like I am some like poor restrained flower where my best friend's just like constantly talking over me and I never get a word in edgeways. And it's like, no, like the moment I want to get a word in, I can get as many words in as I want. I just quite often don't care about getting any words in, you know? Like I am, like in real life, way more happy to listen than I am to do the talking. It makes me extremely anxious to speak in front of people. Like if it's not one of my best friends, I probably am not speaking to you, honestly. Like I've gotten a couple of comments here and on TikTok from people that live in the same area as me that have said like, oh, I saw you like here on this day, I wish I'd said hi. And it's like, on the one hand, it would be so cool to like meet a viewer and have someone like stop me in the street and be like, I watch your videos, you know, that would be fucking sick. But I also know that if that happened, I'd be like, nice, cool, okay, I don't know what to say now. You know, like I'd just be really fucking anxious and be like, okay, who the fuck are you? Like, if you ever see me and want to come up to me, I need you to have like a little printed piece of paper with your username and picture on so I recognise you too. I don't really, like, you can come and say hi if you see me, which is a weird thing to say, but I also like am probably going to be extremely awkward and weird and not enjoy it that much. It's the kind of like, that's the thing with like being autistic for me, is that there's so much stuff that I don't enjoy in the moment, but once I've processed it and like I'm not having to actively do the work of being in the moment, I'm like, that was sick, that was so cool, I loved that. But in the actual moment I'm like, oh my god, I hate this, let me go home. Oh, I need to check if the new season of Interview with the Vampire's out yet. Because I bought SFX magazine because they had like a poster card of Sylvester McCoy as well as a really cool poster of Shooty within it. But I also got this jumper while I was in the US, and the episode of Doctor Who that I watched with my best friend last night also had Vindu in it, so that reminded me of Interview with the Vampire, and I really should check if the new season's out or when it's coming out. I got this in Hot Topic, and because Hot Topic deals were insane. Like, some of like just the general sales and shit in America are so good. Because I bought a Doctor Who hoodie for like $30, and because I was getting that was $1 for the whole ass jumper, and it's so cozy, and it has like brushed velvet on the front. Like, it feels classy. It's very on vibe for the show. And I am also like halfway through the book right now. This is the slowest I've read a book in like such a long time. Like, I've been reading Interview with the Vampire for the last like, I want to say like 6 months at this point. It's been forever. I read like maybe 5 to 10 pages at a time, and then I just like can't focus on it anymore. I want to do something else. Like, I don't know that much about Anne Rice, but I'm pretty sure it was her that like fucked up the fanfiction.net community, right? Like, it was her fault that loads of fanfics got deleted and stuff because she was all like, copyright, that's my work. But like, bitch didn't even write the fucking chapters. Like, there's no chapters. It just goes on and on and on and on forever. And like, I've been known to say that about like Tolkien before, okay? I'm quite specific when it comes to what I actually enjoy reading, you know? But like, give me a fucking chapter at least. Like, let me just read a chapter a night instead of having to do like a few pages and not knowing how long's really enough for me because you haven't given me any chapters. It's not hard. And also, like, that's the thing, is it's not necessarily like poorly written, because I can think of like multiple different parts where I would have put a chapter break, you know? Like, it wouldn't be that hard to edit them in. And I know it's like a classic and there's like TV shows and movies made of it, but I'm not all that impressed by it, to be honest with you. I definitely prefer what I've seen from the show. And I haven't watched the movie yet because I really want to watch it on tape, and the copy of it that I had that I wanted to watch is all like jumpy and skippy and awful, so I can't watch it. I keep checking charity shops to see if I can find it on tape, but I haven't yet. Also, one of you's offered to send me Clerks over on VHS because you see it in like op shops or like thrift stores or flea markets or something all the time, and it's such a kind offer, and I really want to say yes, but like, I'm also aware that postage over to the UK is insane, and I also have the vibe that I maybe shouldn't give my address out to viewers, to be honest with you. Like, I trust you guys and I really like you guys and I love getting the comments and the support and everything, but like, every part of the internet safety that I grew up with is telling me not to give my address out to any viewers. And also, like, I can't afford like a PO box or something, and I don't want to like encourage everyone to send me stuff. I just really want Clerks as like the US version with the little like cardboard slip cover. I'll deal with it. I'll find it on eBay or something at some point when I've got some cash to just spend on shit. I'm also going to Comic-Con, not this weekend, but next weekend. I'm getting a picture with Kevin Smith and Jason Mewes as well as Catherine Tate. I'm also getting Kevin Smith's signature, his autograph, so I'm actually going to get to speak to him, and I'm so incredibly excited. It's just starting to like fully sink in that like in less than 2 weeks I'm meeting Kevin Smith. Like, I never ever in my entire life thought that I'd get to meet Kevin Smith, but it's incredibly exciting. I absolutely shit myself when he was announced for Liverpool Comic Con. Oh, I'm also like, Kevin Smith is like massively taking everything for me. Like, that's the attention, that is the focus. I'm so excited. Like, that man changed my life for this movie. He's like, for real. I can't wait to get to look him in the eye and be like, you're everything, you know? Which, coming from the person that never makes eye contact, I feel like really means a lot. But I am also getting a picture of Catherine Tate, and I'm equally like very excited about that. And I think slightly less so purely because, like, if someone's in Doctor Who, I'm just like, I'll meet them at some point. They'll be at a Comic-Con, they'll be at something. If they're in Doctor Who, I'm probably going to get to meet them eventually. Whereas Kevin Smith, like, I did not think there was any chance that I would ever get to meet my second favourite director of all time. I just, zero expectation of that. But, Like, I would be excited to meet Catherine Tate at any point. Like, I've loved Catherine Tate since I was a kid and she played Donna. But especially now that I'm older and I don't speak to my own mother and she played Rose's mum in the specials. Like, the recent Doctor Who specials really changed the way that I saw Catherine Tate, and I'm like, she is my screen mother now. Like, this, she just means a lot to me. Like, the character of Donna Noble really means a lot to me. And the fact that I'm going to get to, like, obviously pictures at Comic-Con is like, you walk in, you smile, they might compliment a bit of your clothing or say hello, and then you walk out. Like, I'm not going to get to have a chat with her, but I'm so excited to just get to like stand next to her and be like, hiya. I do feel like this is probably going to be my last Liverpool con though, because I really don't like the way they're going. I had to pay so that I can get into the Lord of the Rings panel, which I do think is honestly just a bit bullshit. They're all like, oh, it's because of like the amount of people, we don't want everyone to have to wait and then not even get in. And it's like, so do a first come first serve ticket basis that are free tickets. Like, they're only charging for the Lord of the Rings and the Supernatural panels. So I managed to get 2 tickets to the Lord of the Rings panel because I don't care about Supernatural, but I really care about Lord of the Rings. And my friend booked them because my friend tends to be the person that books tickets because we need accessible tickets because they're in a wheelchair. And there's just, we could not figure out like a way to buy accessible tickets through the site that they're using. It's like they don't exist. So we had to get just 2 random tickets, and we're gonna have to show up on the day and be like, oh, the seats are up there, huh? This person's in a wheelchair, they can't get to them, do something. And I am a bit scared that they're not gonna have any way of seating us. See, that's the thing, is they would have a way of seating me, I could just go and sit down, but then my friend's just left there. And it's one of those things where then we both feel bad. Like, it's just really shitty. It really annoys me. It should be easier to buy accessible tickets to things. It's like, we also wanted to go and see Garbage in Manchester because we both love Garbage. They're an amazing band. Butch Vig's one of my absolute all-time favourite drummers. I absolutely adore Shirley Manson. Like, it would just be so cool to get to see them together, you know? And we phoned up not that long after tickets went on sale, and the 5 accessible tickets were already sold out, and nowhere else in the building is suitable for wheelchairs. And it's like, why does an entire large venue like this only have 5 accessible seats? Like, what the fuck? It's ridiculous. So now it's a case of like, am I going to go to that gig on my own? I've asked one of my other friends, but they don't really listen to Garbage, so like they probably won't want to. And it's a case of like, I don't really go anywhere without my best friend. Like, they, you know, not to be like my friend's my carer, but like they kind of fucking are. Like, I really struggle being out and about and doing things without them. And there's been multiple times that I've gone to gigs in Manchester on my own and ended up sleeping outside the train station or having to call my mum to come and get me and things like that. And like, and that was before I knew I was autistic, frankly. And I think at this point, with the awareness that I have and the way that I've like accommodated to myself and everything, I don't know how I would handle that now. Like, in the past, I just sort of dissociated and dealt with it, and maybe like I'd still be able to do that, but I really don't know. And the idea of it absolutely horrifies me. And also, it would fucking suck to come back and be like, oh my god, I got to see one of my favourite bands, and have my friend be like, that's so nice. Like they would be excited for me, don't get me wrong, but I would be very aware that I'd seen a band that they also really wanted to see, and through no fault of their own, are not able to. Sorry, this is just a complaint-filled video. Life ain't going well, guys. What can I say? Like, it could also be going a lot worse, I will give, but it's not great. It's really not great. If you've made it this far into the video, I would love if you told me what's going on in your life at the minute. Like, I feel like... Oh, okay. I thought there was a spider at the bottom there and I wouldn't have even been shocked because I have not done this in so long. But yeah, if you want to tell me about shit that's been going on in your life recently in the comments, I would love to read about that. Like, we share lots of things about ourselves, but I feel like I never actually, like, know what's going on for y'all in the way that y'all do for me. And it's okay, because that's the way that, like, making videos works. I spent many years making videos of me just, like, shouting into the void with no one watching them. I understand the internet. But, like, also, now that you guys are here and I do have people watching, it'd be nice to feel like I get to know you a little bit. And, like, in lots of ways, I do feel like that. And I also, in lots of ways, don't want to, like, build a parasocial relationship in any unhealthy way. But I also love getting comments and love hearing about other people. I'm basically, at my core, I've realised recently, very, very, very nosy. Like, I love just knowing shit, and I never want to, like, impose, I never want to, like, be too much or whatever, so I don't You know, like I've known people that'll like go out for a smoke anytime there's an argument in the street and like stop and like listen to police officers when something's going on and stuff, and I won't do that because I think that's just a bit intrusive to people's personal lives. But like when my friends are like, oh, I'm having this issue with this person, I'm like, tell me all about it, give me all the tea. I love it. I'm so nosy. Anything that people are willing to tell me, I'm so willing to listen to, you know. Like that's the thing, I think in life as like a person, I am generally like, I'm just a listener. I'd much rather just listen to people at all times than actually do the talking myself for the most part. Like, I say that, but also like I definitely started this channel largely because I don't really talk to people and don't really say my opinions and things like that. And I get to over here and that's very nice, but I hate doing it in real life. I think, honestly, now that I'm thinking about it, because as we've spoken about before, these videos are practically fucking therapy where I just figure out my own brain. But thinking about it now, I think it's that, like, for 9 years that I was living with my ex, anytime I had an opinion, he would put me down about it, he'd tell me how wrong I was about it. Like, I wasn't allowed to have my own opinions, really, for a very long time. And when I did want to state opinions or say something, or like, we're talking like as simple as like, I liked that TV show, he would have some big reason that actually I shouldn't, and actually I'm super wrong and blah blah blah. And if I in any way was like, it's just what I think, it's just my opinion, it would turn into a great big argument where he would scream at me. And it's definitely probably devolved a lot from that, and that's definitely something I need to get over and heal from and deal with, that I don't think I really have. But I am also only like a year and 2 months out from moving out from living with him, and I have tackled and coped with lots and lots of other things that have come along from that. And human beings, we're just a constant work in progress, are we not? Like, that's the point. We can just keep trying and keep getting better and improve ourselves as we go. As I've improved myself by finally sorting all of that. So obviously I still need to put it away in my wardrobe, but as always, I do that bit on my own because it feels like it takes 2 seconds if I do it on my own, but if I do it on camera, it feels like it takes another half an hour. And this is already, this is only half hour long. It only took me half hour to do all that. Sick. I'm on a roll. I am gonna hoover after this. I'm gonna proper like sort my shit out and get stuff done. It's gonna be fab. If you've managed to do something alongside this, please do let me know in the comments. Let me know if you're also on a roll and gonna do other things. If you haven't done anything through this, let this be encouragement that you can do it after this. You could listen to a bit of music, you can get going. My voice is going, so I am going to leave. I post here on Tuesdays, Thursdays and Sundays. I've been trying to make Tuesdays and Thursdays like real videos, and Sundays these more like relaxed videos like this, or like cook with me and things like that. I don't always do it that way, but that's what I've been attempting. I post near daily over on TikTok, and I also post occasionally on Instagram. If you wanted to follow me in those places, they'll be like linked down below. I was gonna say tags, but I also started saying linked. I also have Ko-fi and Patreon if you want to donate to me monetarily, and it's very, very appreciated when you do, because I am saving up to be able to move out, and I need... What the fuck is happening to deposits on rented properties in the UK? Like, it used to be that you just needed your first month's rent and that same amount of money would be the deposit, which was already a lot of money to find. And now, like, I'm looking at places that are like £700 a month and they want like £1,500 just as a deposit as well as the first month's rent, and it's like, who has this money? Like, it's bringing me down. But there's never any pressure, you don't have to. I'm a human person that exists off of the internet. I will figure it out in whatever way I need to. But it would be helpful if anyone wants to, if you've been considering it. Like, you know, I feel very awkward asking people for money because you really don't have to give it to me. I'm literally just chatting shit in my bedroom. It's fine if you don't want to pay me personally for it, you know? YouTube should be paying me better. So that's all the info. Whoever you are and wherever you are, if you have a lovely morning, evening, day, afternoon, week, month, year, and I will see you again in a couple of days.